Hello, hello, family. Welcome back to another episode of the Millennial Gems podcast. I'm your host, KILLA, and today, another special guest. This is another gentleman I've met in college who, I can't say that we've had too many encounters, but, we've kind of been in and out. It's kind of like here and there, but, we ain't really.
Yeah, we had conversations in passing.
And like passing and stuff like that. But outside of that, this gentleman here, I believe, probably has a little bit, maybe quite of a story with this whole trying to figure out, I know you kind of going from something from fitness to this whole chef kind of branch you kind of came up with. But we're gonna talk about that. So anyway, just want to introduce y'all to my guy, Darwyn Joseph. How we doing today?
What's going on, man? Doing great, bro. How you doing?
I'm solid. All right, so first thing I always want to ask every guest is, it's called PMB, which is pretty much stands for how are you feeling physically, mentally, and, how your brand, your business is doing, say maybe over the last 6 months, maybe, maybe the last 30 days in the past week, but you just rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, how you've been feeling, 10 being absolute perfect and then 1 just being absolute worse. How are you feeling?
Well, is it overall or just separate categories?
Yeah, you can give a general rating for all 3 of them, or if you want to break them down into, individually, you can do it that way as well.
All right, word. So physically, I would say I am probably a 7, 8. I've been working out, doing my thing, going to the gym consistently. Diet could use some improvement as always, but for the most part, I got everything squared away. Mentally, probably around an 8. And the reason being because recently got more into my spirituality, started going to church again, getting closer with God. So that's been helping me out a lot through any personal situations. Business wise, I feel probably can do the most improvement within the last 6 months. I would say I would probably be at a 6.5, 7 in terms of business. That's mainly because during the summer months, I had another job. I did majority, not part-time, full-time. And so that kind of took away from my business a little bit. But, once that ended, it was a seasonal job. So that ended around September, August. That's when I was able to get back into cooking and doing things, that I love to do. And now that I have a part-time job, it gives me a lot more time to get everything that I want done.
Absolutely. I'm the same way. So for those tuning in maybe for the first time, and for those who have, I've watched the past few episodes, that this is a self-improvement podcast. So what do you do to help self-improve every day? What tactics, what resources are you using to help, get yourself 1% better each day?
Oh, man, that's a great question. Honestly, I am constantly listening to podcasts, to be honest. There's multiple podcasts that I tune into. I tune into a podcast, Tim Ross, The Basement. He's a pastor. I've been tuning into him a lot. Like I said before, I've just started getting back into my spirituality, so he's kind of helping me focus and pointing me into the right direction. In terms of business and kind of motivation, I tune into what's his name? I completely forgot his name. The motivational speaker,
Eric Thomas.
Eric Thomas. There you go. I tune into his podcast.
The Secret to Success. The Secret to Success podcast.
That podcast right there. They just preach gems. They drop jewels, all the time. And once I listen to that, it's I just want to get up and go and do something, get something done. Whether I want to go to the gym or I want to, do something in my business, it just lights a fire under me. And those 2 things right there. And also, I try to read some books. I'm getting back into the reading. I haven't been, if I'm being honest, I haven't been reading lately, but I just bought a couple new books. I got some audiobooks that I'll be tuning into, so I'm very excited about that.
Oh, it sounds solid, bro. Like I honestly, like I'm literally the same way with that podcast. Like every morning, the minute I wake up, first thing I'm doing, I turn on my iPad and like I just play maybe like a 7, maybe 8 to like 10 minute clip of just ET just speaking to me. So it just helps kind of just really gets my brain and my juices going. And then the reading.
They talk that real shit, bro. To be honest, it's
all
like
the time, every single time. Like
it's like
when I'm in the gym. That's it's like there's like one of like 2 podcasts I listen to, like them, and there's like another podcast as well. But every time I'm in the gym, like I don't listen to music no more. Like when I'm in the gym, like everything is just all podcast. Same thing when I'm like driving. Well, maybe sometime when I'm like driving Lyft, I always put on a podcast. But if I'm driving by myself, sometimes I like to have my music on, but. When I'm doing like Lyft, I always just put like a podcast on. But word. All right. So let's go back to before we kind of started this before you started this Chef Black Black's Kitchen, I should say. Before you started Black's Kitchen. What would you think, like, what was like your direction you were like looking to like head in before then? Like actually first let me just ask, what did you go to school? What did you go to school for?
Honestly, I went to school for psychology, but funny enough, I actually originally wanted to go to culinary school. I didn't go to culinary school because you know how that goes. One school costs more money than the other, so you can't afford it, so you choose the lesser of the two. Kind of save about money, especially since my mom was paying for my school and my education, not to burden her with all those extra bills. I took the lesser of the two. And honestly, I didn't mind it at all. San State was a great experience. I made great individuals, such as yourself. It was a great time. I still talk to some people that I went to school with till this day, and I don't regret it at all. But once I graduated, I went into teaching. So I was a paraprofessional for about a year and a half, close to 2 years. And then, I kind of just went through a traumatic experience and then decided that life was just too short. I had to go and pursue my dreams. I knew what I wanted to do since I was like 11 years old. Not many people have figured out their passion as a child. It's like me watching my mom cook, my grandma cook, just standing in the kitchen, just literally just watching them. I don't know. I didn't know where this innate instinct I had to just want to cook, but I just sat there, watched. They didn't even really like break anything down to me. I soaked it in all on my own and decided that like this is something I love to do, even at that young age. So when life kind of took a turn, I just was like, you know what, I'm gonna just bet on me and I'm gonna see where this goes. And that's where I am right now. It's been like almost going on 2 years now since I started this business. I'm doing everything on my own. I got my LLC. So everything's a learning process. I've had, a few events, some days that were successful, some days that weren't successful, but all in all, I'm still trying to push and thrive and, continue to do what I got to do. I know there's a plan.
Word. I was actually about to just kind of just segue into that. So I was going to ask, like, tell me about, like, when, Black's Kitchen kind of, it's just like, it's a light bulb in your head. You're like, all right, maybe now this is something I want to take serious. Like this is something I want to turn into like, a business, a brand. Like when does that like click in your head?
Right. So actually before Black's Kitchen, I was in business with one of my best friends, like my right hand man. We started another like cooking business brand, but that didn't really go it didn't really go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I was probably more passionate than he was, which is understandable.
Okay.
He just knew how to cook, and I felt like I was just more passionate about it. So his life kind of took another direction. Still my best friend to this day, but I decided that I'm gonna just kind of stick with this because I knew this is something that I love to do, and just going going to business for myself rather than just going in with a partner. Like, yeah, going in a partner can be great sometimes, but also you know it can hold you back at times because
Oh
you
yeah.
have to consider someone else's feelings and emotions towards something, and then but when you go into yourself and you believe in yourself, you invest in yourself. It's just like you call all the shots, and whether there are ups and downs, it's like you depend on yourself. And yeah, bro, I was like, I kind of just fell in love with it, and I don't regret it.
So you said like this is now going on two years.
Yeah, so I started January of 2021. So come
Oh, okay.
January 2023, it'll mark 2 years. I officially got my LLC around, I want to say, June of 2021. And then,
Okay.
yeah.
So like that between like that time there, like were you seeing like a real like surplus? I mean, obviously like food and stuff like that. Like clearly,
Mhm.
like everybody loves food and stuff like that. But like, were you just seeing like a real like high demand for like food between that time before you like when you started and between like that time of when you like established like your LLC?
I wouldn't say necessarily a high demand, but I would say that there was something missing, especially in my community. I live in Lawrence. I wasn't born here, but I was raised here. And it's a highly Hispanic community. There's a lot of Dominican people, and I'm Haitian, so I come from a Haitian background, and there are no Haitian restaurants, for miles of here until you go deeper into like Boston, the Boston area, the greater Boston area, and so I felt like that was missing, especially around here in the surrounding areas. So I feel like I could be the one to just introduce that culture to the community. And once I did,
Mm,
people
okay.
started to, actually accept it and respond very well to it. And so it's just like that. Literally, I felt like that was just the missing link that needed to just be brought within the city. And like I said, I felt like I was just the person to do it.
Word. So let's talk about like how. So actually, what advice do you give to those maybe say like aspiring like young chefs or so, or like the ones who are just like they enjoy the cooking, but like they're just kind of um say just just like a little stubborn and just kind of like a little like anxious about really kind of like getting themselves like out there to you know building a name and building a brand with in the cooking industry. Like what gems do you give to those who are just like afraid to start?
Honestly, if you're afraid to start, just start. Like, honestly, that's really all it takes. Um, I was actually listening. There was the podcast I was listening to not too long ago. It says even when you're afraid, just start. Like, start afraid. You don't have to build a certain confidence and to feel like you need to start. Just start boldly afraid. You know what I'm saying? Like, always want to learn. Just nobody. If there's nothing stopping, only thing stopping you is yourself. So it's just like, why not just take that chance on you? Always continue to learn. You're going to learn as you go. So don't feel like you need to know everything right away just in order to get started. Because once you feel like you need to learn and do this before you get started, then there's something that's always gonna kind of keep you back in a way because you're never gonna feel like you're ready. And I feel like nobody's ever really ready. You know what I'm saying? It's just
Right.
like
Yep. Yeah.
they
I
just
get
they
that.
just end up taking a chance on themselves, and it's
Hmm.
like you figure it out along as you go. Like that's exactly what
Absolutely.
I did. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I have no business experience. I had a community customer service experience from like jobs that I've had. I've had some hospitality experience, but as far as direct customer to like business relations, like I didn't know how to deal with that. So I'm still learning to this day. You know, I'm not afraid to ask others for advice. Some people that are already in the business established. I would also recommend going and possibly getting a job at a restaurant. I worked at a restaurant for a few months. That's when I just realized it wasn't the right fit for me. But that's still an environment where I learned some skills. I learned some techniques that I was able to take back to my own business and still improved. So you just take little things along the way, and it's just going to build up your business as a whole, build up your character and your just business IQ. So that's pretty much it. It's just get started. Don't be afraid. Even if you are afraid, get started anyways, because shit, when you fail, you learn.
There's your gem, people. There's your gem right there. Just start. Don't wait. Just start. All right. So now I want to talk about what what kind of falls under like the BLACC's kitchen. Like I see like private chef, and you also do like catering and stuff like that. So like, and then I see you also do like these, like these like weekly like like Wing Wednesdays, and I think I see you do like something else during the week. But like, how what I guess I'm gonna word this correctly. What is like how many times has anybody like ever like requested like how many actually let me start with this first. How many like private events have you like done so far, like catering events? Like have you catered like a lot of like events or so?
I've catered a good amount. Obviously I would love to cater more, but those that reach out, I always come through. So I probably in total I've done probably like 5 private events. I actually have one coming up December 29th. But also the first one I did, it was before I actually even had my LLC. One of my friends from San State, you probably know him, Alejandro Martinez.
Yes, sir.
He's a dude that believed in me from the get-go. I remember we even had this conversation of how I wanted to cook back in college when I first met him. He was actually my RA freshman year, and then we just developed a strong bond and relationship over the years. And so he gave me my first opportunity. He was just hosting some friends at his house, and he was just like, "Yo, just come through. You're gonna ask people what they want, and then you cook it." And he paid me for that, and that was one of the best experiences I had, because just knowing that someone close to me actually believes in my dreams, and without hesitation was willing to put his trust in me. And I was able to just kind of come through for him, was amazing. So that was my first experience. And then after that, I started getting some more clientele here and there through social media. I did a private event for a family birthday party. A wife, her husband hired me to cook and prepare meals for them and their kids. That was great. I've prepared, like bigger parties for 50 people. I've prepared small things here and there. I've done actually in the summertime. I did a music festival, which was great. It was I was a vendor for one of the first music festivals around here in the area, up in Lawrence. It was called the Emotions Music Festival, and that was a great opportunity. I was able to reach a lot of people through that. And as far as the plates goes, I feel like that is my kind of marketing tool to get my name out there from people that don't know me, or people that just want to try anything that I have to offer. I obviously know not everybody can always afford like a private dinner, or they want to cater, but they still want to support and try the food. So I'm like, here you go. Here's a $20 plate. You can try and see what I have to offer. And if in the future you are looking for someone to cater an event, you're looking for a chef, the first person that comes to mind is, oh shit, there's Chef Black. I've tried his food. His food is great. Let me hit him up and see what's up with a larger party. So that's kind of where I fall under. It's not necessarily like I guess my specific niche is Caribbean cuisine. However, I know how to cook anything. You ask me to cook something, even if I don't know how to cook it, I'm gonna learn how to cook it and I'll put my own spin to it. And it's going to deliver every time. And that's just how confident I am in my skills. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, yeah, it's just something I just love to do it, man. This is awesome. Anytime I get to cook for somebody, I'm just like, let's go, let's do it. How can I help you?
Lit.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, bro.
Mm-hmm. So I want to, before we kind of quickly touch on like the wings, because I love those to death, man. I love those. But I first want to ask,
Appreciate
like,
that.
how, like, your first, have you ever prepared like for like a catering gig? Like you prepare something, like obviously like you're clearly confident in like what you make, but have you ever just kind of like thought about like, all right, if I make this dish and like it's just somebody who's just like not gonna be like a fan of it? Like, have you ever had that? Like, have you had thoughts about like that or so? Have thoughts like that ran through your mind like anytime you do like these like catering events?
Slightly, but I'll be honest, bro. Like, not to sound like cocky or arrogant, but I'm great at what I do, and I'm fully confident in what I do. So those thoughts don't necessarily run through my mind. Maybe slightly if there's something new that I've never done before that somebody wants me to do, I'll be, slightly nervous or weary about it. But at the same time, I'm still like, I got this. Like, even if it's something new, I have full confidence in myself. Like, I got this. Because it's not like I'm just preparing something and then I'm just, throwing it out to the wild. Like, no, I'm tasting things as long as I go. I'm just like, okay, if I'm going to like this, will somebody else like this? Yeah, we all have different palates, but at the same time, I feel like I have a strong palate where I'm able to know to differentiate what's good and what's not good. So, for the most part, I don't really have those thoughts.
Hey, okay. So now these beloved wings of yours, man. So are all of these like sauces that you like name, like these, every single one of like these flavors, like these are like your specific own like flavors, like you made, like you whip these flavors together?
Some of them, yeah. Some of them I'll buy from a store, like basic buffalo. I've made my own buffalo sauce before, which was pretty good. But if I'm under like a certain, time and I don't have time to prepare it, then I'll go out in the store and get it. But for the most part, like I have this one that's pretty popular. I call them Woo Wings because they're blueberry. It's a blueberry barbecue glaze, and people love that. So that's one specialty that I prepare on my own because you're not really gonna find that anywhere else.
Woo wings. Okay, I was like, yo, I was looking at, I was just like, woo wings. I'm like, yo, what is that? Like, that's kind of different. Like,
Yeah, man.
I'm on a woo and a blueberry like flavored barbecue. I'm just like,
yeah, bro. It's
that's a little bit kind of different. Like, I ain't never heard that before.
Yeah, bro. It was one of the first flavors that I came up with, and it was phenomenal. It was a big hit every time.
Man, so I gotta make sure that next time you do these, I gotta make sure I get those the next time. But yeah, nah, let's see your flavors, bro. Like these flavors here are dope. Like the lemon pepper. Like I'm assuming the lemon pepper dry rub. That's like your special touch on lemon pepper, because I think lemon pepper is the top 3 flavors in like all chicken wings. Like flavor. I think it's just top flavor period. But I'm sure you probably got like your spin on a lemon pepper.
Yeah, honestly, how that came about, I used just before I actually made my own, I just used a regular one that I bought at the store. But I felt like it was too salty. And then someone actually someone that purchased told me that it was too salty. And I was just like, you know what? They're right. Let's see if I can fix that. And so I, had a few trial runs, put some different spices together, with the lemon pepper being the base. And then I found one that I really liked, and then people enjoyed, and so that's the one I stuck to. And so like that lemon pepper is my own rendition. So it's not just a basic lemon pepper. There's a whole bunch of different spices that are in there.
Mm. Yeah, that's another one that I definitely gotta get from you as well. Also, I never heard. See, I think of honey sriracha. I feel like I've definitely heard of that before.
Mm.
Maple barbecue. That was like it sounds very simple, but I don't think this one. I don't think I've ever tasted that. The maple barbecue.
Yeah, that one is actually, so how I mentioned, I worked at a restaurant, and there's certain things that I took from that restaurant and put into my business. That was actually one of them. They had a maple barbecue sauce for the wings, and it was great. And so once I started doing wings myself, I'm just like, most people, I feel like they don't have this flavor. That was the only restaurant that I knew around here.
Yeah, I was like, yeah,
flavor.
maple
So
barbecue. I'm like, that's a different.
So I had to snag
kind of...
that. I took that. It's like, hey.
Hey.
It was funny. I was a line cook, and so as a line cook, they give you like what was it? Just like a whole bunch of printed out papers of the recipes that they do. And so like I took that shit, I brought it home with me, and I looked through it. I'm just like, oh, I can do that. That's solid. And it's like I looked at the recipes, and like I said, I made it my own, and then shit was off from there.
Yeah, man. Honestly, these flavors are top notch. So if y'all not hip, BLACC's Kitchen, man, make sure y'all go check them out in Lawrence. Find them on. Well, I'll let you talk about that when we get to the end. So I have a segment on my podcast where it's called Game. It's Gems About Me. So what I'll do is either ask you a question or a statement, and you just answer it or fill in the blank to the best of your ability, right? And I don't judge you for none of your answers. Whatever you want it to be is how you want to go about answering it. So, first one is, my name is, and I am.
My name is Darwyn Joseph, aka Chef Black, and I am. That's a good question. I am a Haitian American chef, but I'm not only a chef. I don't want to put myself under just one umbrella. I feel like I got layers to myself, so I can't just say I'm just one thing. I have multiple passions, multiple avenues. I am a creator, and I am a promoter of health and wellness.
Hey, I'll take that. First thing I do in the morning is
brush my teeth.
You know what's funny? I had Drace Andres. You know Andres?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had him on last episode. I asked him the same thing. I said, I worded it as first thing you do when you open your eyes, and the first thing he said was he got up and brushed. He said the same exact thing, like because he recognized like most people when I ask you, like they're thinking I'm like looking for like a routine or so, like if you like meditate or like you like read or you like stretch or something. Like I think that's what most people think, like when I probably like ask this, but he's just like, yeah, no, I just get up and brush my teeth, man. Like
yeah, I mean, yeah, bro, basic stuff, bro. I brush my teeth, and after that, bro, I have my conversation with the Most High, and then I get on my day, bro. But I waking up with that hot breath, man, I can't do it, bro. It's just tough, bro. Nah, bro.
Heard you. All right, so early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
To cope with stress, I
go to the gym.
All right, little curveball here. Top 3 things you look for in your dream spouse or current spouse if you have one.
Support, In all aspects, whether it's, um, my profession, my career, uh, whether in terms of family, support is a big one. Um, Another one would be someone I can, just come and talk to. Someone that can just, who wants to know like how my day is going, wants to, genuinely wants to know about my interests, just kind of what's going on in my head. I'm a quiet person for the most part, so I won't just come out and just talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Introverted as hell, bro. So it's just like I'm not gonna just come out and talk to you, or I literally just need that person to ask me, and then once you ask me, I'm just like, oh, I bet, and then things just start flowing.
Now I become like an open book.
You know what I'm saying? You can't get me to shut up. But then, and then third, I think third is a new one. It's someone who um, I can have a spiritual relationship with. Um, you know, physical relationships you can find anywhere, but someone who can not only just like teach me, but also just like just have me open to different perspectives and experiences in terms of spirituality and becoming closer with God. That's so yeah. Those would be my top three.
Like that last one. Now, favorite dish you prepared so far?
It's funny. I actually get that question a lot. They'd be like, "Oh, yo, what's your favorite dish? Or what's your best dish?" Um, I'll say one of my best and or favorite dishes is oxtail. Just making oxtail is just like every time I just make that, I bite into that, bro. It's just like
it slaps every time. Yeah, I gotta get
bro.
hit.
It's just like, oh my god, it's not one moment where I'm just like, yeah, yeah, bro. That's my jam.
Oh man, yeah, nah, I definitely gotta give it. I gotta get some of that. Last one. Um, BLACC's kitchen will be.
Ooh, BLACC's kitchen will be well known. BLACC's kitchen will be well known amongst not even just my community, but nationwide. You know, in terms of flavor, in terms of hospitality, I want that Chick-fil-A customer service representation without the negative connotation behind Chick-fil-A. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want people I want BLACC's Kitchen to be a household name. I want them to, once they hear that, they know that they're going to get quality food no matter what state or city that they're in. And I don't even want to keep it just nationwide. One of my biggest dreams is actually taking BLACC's Kitchen and bringing it to the Caribbean, and back to Haiti.
Oh yeah,
where my people are
worldwide
from.
now.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that's what I dream of, and that's what I envision of BLACC's Kitchen of being.
Absolutely. That's why I started throwing that question in there, because I'm like, from now on, I want everybody to manifest what they want to happen with their brands and their businesses.
Absolutely.
So throughout this journey so far, like, what have you learned about yourself, and what are you currently still working through? Like, what are you still learning as you're looking to build a bigger and like greater nationwide, worldwide brand?
One thing I learned about myself is how to be more patient. Just knowing that things take time and things are not going to happen overnight, no matter how much, social media tries to fool people in thinking that like instant gratification is like a thing. Just
Mm-hmm.
learning to be more patient with myself and, just not only with myself, but just like, with the people around me. Um, Learning that not everybody is always going to support you the way you envision them to. They might support you in a different way, but um, never try to, I guess, just think negatively. Just always remember that, things are going to happen as long as the work is put in. And, you're not just like sitting around and waiting for things to happen. They're going to happen when you make them happen.
Right, right. And then like what like currently right now are you learning about like yourself, like as right now?
Um, I think what I'm learning about myself is
Or like I guess I can word it
that's a
also
good
like
question.
how have you also like recognized like how have you recognized like your growth? Like what have you how have you realized like your growth from like right now, like each day, like what are you learning about yourself now? Like every time you step in the kitchen, like what are you learning? Like what's something new about that you learn about yourself every time you step in the kitchen?
Um, Good questions, actually. Um, Something new. I feel like there's just always room for improvement. To be honest, like I feel like I don't know everything, and I'm never going to claim that I know everything. Um, I will forever want to be a student. I will forever want to learn, um, and I teach myself sometimes that like even when I make mistakes, that I can come back from them. Mistakes aren't final, especially like in the kitchen when people think like, "Oh, I messed this dish up." There's no coming back from it. Sometimes you just gotta take a breath, step back, really think about it, and then just because the way I see it, food is a science. So there's always uh, a reaction to every action, or however that thing goes. So it's like whatever you do, you can always fix it and come back from it. Like, for example, like if you over salt a dish, you know, what's the opposite of salty? Sweet, balance it out. There's always a balance. There's always a balance to everything. So you're always going to be able to kind of bounce back from no matter no matter what it is, even if it's just not food itself. It's just like when it comes to life, like nothing is final. There's always a way to kind of fix it or just balance it out, if that makes sense.
Got you. Have are so have are there like many dishes that you've like it's just like damn I just put too much pepper in
Yeah,
this or damn I
do
might
that
have just
shit
been
all the
like
time.
this is too watery or like this is too dry like how many like have you
Hmm.
had like many dishes that you've done that like
Yeah, honestly, it's just like, especially when I do something new, like everything's a learning process.
mm,
I recently started cooking like vegan food. 'Cause I have a cousin that's
oh
vegan, and so whenever um, I need to prepare a meal or like for like family events because he wants to, obviously he's going to eat and he's not going to eat everything that everybody else eats. Um, I have to learn how to cook with vegan food because I'm not used to it. I gotta find out what the balances are, like because the one thing I learned, like vegan cheese doesn't melt, it doesn't melt well. So it's just like you have to kind of like find substitutes and find a way to like make vegan mac and cheese where you can get that nice melt and that stretch and that pull, and you won't even notice that it's vegan. So there are a few dishes where like probably over salt, or I think this is enough. I'll add too much citrus in one dish, and then I have to go and figure out how to balance it out. Like, because there's been times where it's the first time I did something, like I put too much citrus in it. I'm just like, damn, how do I balance out the citrus? And then, I go back into like my Rolodex of dishes and meals, and I was like, all right, I find the balance. Boom, I figured it out, and now it's forever ingrained in my brain. So, in case that thing happens again, I could just flip back to the memory where I did it, and then fix it immediately.
Oh, all right. So, have you ever gotten like offers to be like somebody's like private chef? Like, is somebody been like, "Yo, I'll pay you if you just become like my private chef for like a week," or would you ever like entertain like something like that? Like, if they said they were like, "Yo, I seen your work, I would love to have you like be my private chef for this however long," or like a contract or something like that, and they're like, um, I'll have you probably like move in, like, and you can have like a room and board here. I'll pay you as long as you just do the cooking. Like, would you entertain something like that?
Oh yeah, 100%. Shit, the money's right. I don't see why not. Like, hell yeah, like, if everything's pretty much provided and all I gotta do is cook when you need a meal, I have no issue with that.
So what now? Say it was just like one where you kind of have to travel to the person's house. Now I'm assuming that's gonna probably be like a little different, probably like, you know, money wise, because now we'll talk about, you coming from wherever that, where you are, and, gas and mileage and all that. So I'm sure that's gonna, play a part in how much too. So is that something too you would also
Yeah, for
entertain?
sure. Honestly, bro, I don't really see a scenario where, I wouldn't, do in terms of like cooking for someone privately. Um, I have no issue with that with traveling. Like I said, if the money isn't an issue and they can afford my prices, and it's, then I'm all for it. I love doing it, having a different experience. One of my first experiences actually wasn't even my client. There was a local chef that I connected with here. He was already established, and he already had his list of clients. And he was actually on his way transitioning from private chef to more so doing another business that involved meal preps. One of my first experiences was with him, and we traveled out to somewhere in New Hampshire. Um, yeah, somewhere in New Hampshire, and we was cooking for a family. And I think he mentioned probably the family that like owned Market Basket or something like that. And yeah, he picked me up. We drove like probably maybe like 45 minutes away from my house, and then we cooked for them. I presented the food, they enjoyed it, and then we left. And he paid me, he did my thing, and it was a great experience. It was truly amazing. So I always envision myself doing things like that. I'm not just like a caterer, like, oh, I only want the big events. Like, no, I love the small, intimate events. If people want like a Valentine's dinner for their wife, stuff like that, something romantic or whatever, what have you. I'm down for that. Like, that's all just more connections being made, to be honest.
Absolutely. Whew, I like that. Definitely got to keep you in mind for sure. All right.
Yeah, bro.
So we're going to end off. This has been a great conversation, man, honestly. So I just want to like end off with you providing a gem for the audience, and then I want you to provide a gem that you personally live by. Yeah. So something for the people, and then something that you personally, you walk with every day.
Something for the people. Uh, Shit. No matter where your life takes you, if you're scared, if you feel like there's like no hope, just always remember like there are people that truly support you and truly love you. Even if you that think the complete opposite, they might not show it the way you want it to be shown. Just know that there are people that are always going to love you and support you, and that no matter what you do, you can always go to them and ask them for help or advice. That's one thing I had to learn myself. You know, I always had a loving family, but also there was a point in time where I just put like too much like trust and faith in like friends, you know, on outside, and then you know that kind of just like backfired. And then that's when I really realized like the people that truly love me are the ones in my household, the one in my family, you know, the people that are always going to show up for me time and time again. And so it's just like, even if you feel like you're alone sometimes and like your family doesn't like support you or love you, just know that I'm sure as you come to them and you talk to them and you're honest with them, they'll surprise you.
All right. And then what's your gem that you personally like walk with like every day? Like a gem that you heard and you're just like every morning, every day, every time you're in the kitchen, it clicks. Like you can repeat it back to somebody.
I think it's probably something short, but it's just like, it's just keep going. No matter if you don't necessarily know what your path is, you're unsure of, you know, where to go, just keep going. Just push through, because there's going to be a point in time where someone is going to recognize the work that you're putting in, and then they're truly going to, you know, support you. And that reminds me, it's like my all-time favorite poem, even since I was a kid. And I never knew why it was my favorite poem when I was a kid, but I realized it when I grew older. But it was The Road Less Traveled. The Road Less Traveled by Robert Frost.
Oh, yes.
So, you know, he talks about two roads diverged in the yellow wood, and I took the road less traveled by, and then that has made all the difference. So that I feel like is something that's always going to stick with me for the rest of my life is, you know, taking the road less traveled. It's so easy to want to follow somebody else and, you know, and not think for yourself and, you know, follow their path, then build your own path. But what's going to be better for you ultimately at the end of the day is just following your own path. Don't follow the crowd, even if shit looks fun over there. If you got work to do, stay in your own direction, stay in your own lane, and, you know, don't be afraid to miss out on events. You know, don't be afraid to not go to that party just because, you know you have work to do. You know you got work to get done, and you know you have responsibilities to take care of. So at the end of the day, ultimately, that's all going to pay off.
Exactly. Love that, bro. All right. If you want to just like drop your socials, so that way people can contact you, find you, so they can get some of them delicious dishes you'll be serving every week. You just drop your socials off, drop your info off, so people can find you.
Yes. So on Instagram, I am chef_BLACC with 2 C's. That's CHEF_BLACC. The chef_BLACC on Instagram. Same thing on TikTok as well. I wish my TikTok blew up like the other ones, but, you know, it started somewhere. So, but that's where I am on.
It's coming.
You know, exactly. It's coming soon. On Facebook, it's Darwyn Joseph, DARWYN, Joseph, JOSEPH. And then, you know, I post, you know, quite frequently, quite regularly. So if y'all can, you know, support me if you can, I appreciate it.
There you have it. All right, people. Stay blessed. Stay gemmed up.